Oh, speaking of trolls, by the way, I'm gonna talk about Ralphomania in a little bit. But before I do, I have to call out something extremely fucking gay. And this almost killed Ralph for me, but then Ralph did something like this week. I was not going to talk about him just because the Ralphomania shit was kind of boring. And there's some other shit that happened that was fucking gay as shit. And we have to talk about this because I need to reach out to people who are in the sector and I need to denounce somebody in the strongest possible words. There is like a group of absolute fucking queers on Twitter. And among them is like Kinochet, and then this guy called Deranged Faggot that pretends to be Nicholas J. Fuentes on Twitter. These people tried to do a gay op where they found a video of May eating a taco on Digibro's channel, and they pretended that it was pornography of May because they cropped it in a suspicious way, and then they put this out there as being like a real thing. And it took mere minutes for people to figure out that this was all bullshit and debunked it. And then now they have gone out and they've just found like random porn of fugly anorexic women and are photoshopping May's face into it to try and like sexually humiliate her. I really don't even know what the objective is. It's either they're desperate to see May naked or they just want to like line cross. I think producing like fake pornography of people is probably criminal harassment. It's pretty fucked up, even if it isn't. But these people are really fucking gay, and when you are this fucking gay, you make Ethan Ralph look like a reasonable person. So I honestly, I'm about to declare fatwa on them because I never want to hear about these fucking degenerates again. I kind of hope that they ruin their shitty little lives over the dumbest fucking stuff possible, over trying to troll Ethan Ralph. I hope they go to jail unironically at this point, because it's like, how can you being this fucking gay is like criminal. Being this fucking gay should violate some sort of statute that gets triggered at this point, because you're kind of sucking the joy out of everything for everyone. It's not even trolling. Like, if you hate Ralph this much, if you hate Ralph this much and you want to be a hero and make content, just fly out to wherever the fuck he's going next when he next announces his trip and just assault him. Just get a baseball bat and try to beat him with it, because that's like, at this point you're gonna try and force content this hard. Just pick a fight with him on the street. That would be funnier. That would be more interesting than you like lying about porn at this point. I'm not encouraging any. I'm obviously denouncing this, and I'm denouncing violence. But I'm just saying, if you're gonna go that far, you might as well just be. If you're gonna be like a full blown criminal, just be a criminal. Don't be like a pussy criminal doing shit in Discord. Just go be an actual fucking criminal in the name of trolling Ethan Oliver Ralph. Like, how embarrassing. How utterly embarrassing. And I called this motherfucker when I saw him posting on the forum, because if you don't know, Kinochet joined the Kiwi Farms and he made like a dozen, not even a dozen posts, like 50 posts a day advertising his Twitter, watermarking his clips on Twitter and shit. And it's just like, how has nobody kicked your ass? How did you get through your life to this point behaving like this without anyone kicking your ass? How did your mom not kick your ass? How did people at school not kick your ass? How did your priest not beat your ass for being this way? Like, what happened? How did our society fail you? It's like when I'm watching someone who's like a crackhead, on the street. Like, how did you slip through the cracks, little guy? How did our society let you down like this? How did you become Kinochet without getting your ass beat by your dad? What's happened? Because we need to bring back accountability. Very frustrating, because I hate speaking of, I have a lot of frustrations with retards right now, because the other one is the Patrick Tomlinson thread. The Pat people, here's what happened with Patrick Tomlinson. He sued the owner of the Opie and Anthony forum, who goes by Quasi, and Quasi now has him for like tens of thousands of dollars in legal debt that he can collect on, that he's trying to. They're like setting up their own debt collection company in Wisconsin or Michigan, so that they can I think it's Wisconsin. He lives in Milwaukee. So they're gonna try to collect him. And it's like, okay, that's fine, that's fair. You have a legal right to do this. Go ahead. But his lawsuit was funded by a nonprofit, and it's not a 501c3. It's a different 501c. It's like a brotherhood or a guild or something. It's one of the weird ones that you don't often hear about. But Tomlinson belonged to a sci-fi writers author guild, which again is a non-profit, but it's not a 501c3. It's a different one. It's like a league, and they funded this lawsuit. So the Patrick Tomlinson people are now reporting his guild that funded the lawsuit to the IRS for fraud, and that's obviously really fucking gay, because it's not fraud. If you are if you are a guild that protects the interest of sci-fi authors, and a sci-fi author in your guild is having legal issues and you decide to fund it, that's not outside their purview. And they try to compare this and say, well, you reported Trans Lifeline to the IRS. Like, yes, I did. That's because I knew, because they were using charity money to fly to Florida to harass my mother and to show off their fucking firearms as they did so. I knew that they were embezzling money, and it came out that they were embezzling $350,000 over years of charity money to their lifestyle. And they just don't get it. They don't understand. There's something wrong with these people. And then I say that I think that they're the ones doing the swatting to Patrick, because I think they are. And they get super pissed off at me and say, actually, it's the Kiwi fags who are doing the swatting, when it's not. And then they like send tips to the FBI saying that I'm swatting Patrick Tomlinson. It's like, okay, so this is a cordoned off area of mentally ill people, and they're leaking onto my site. And I'm not entirely sure what to do about it, because I want to talk about Patrick, because I think when he's funny, he's funny. But in doing so, I'm encouraging people. It's like with Ralph. I'm like, somehow by talking about this and using this content, I'm encouraging people to do this shit that is anti-funny and that ruins it for everybody. Because how hard is it to have multiple interests? I have like a bunch of people that I follow, and when stuff comes up, I'm entertained. And there's stuff like obviously there's every week there's stuff that happens, and they're so fixated on Patrick, and they've morally justified doing literally anything they want to Patrick, that they're gonna be buddy with the IRS. They're gonna make false police reports to the fucking IRS, the most evil organization that has ever fucking lived, besides maybe the CIA. You're gonna play games and go to bat and simp for the IRS. I just don't get it. And I don't understand how they're entertained. Like, again, it's funny when someone trips and falls because they weren't paying attention, and they said, I'll never trip and fall. And then they trip and fall and say, God damn it, it's somebody else's fault, even though they tripped and fell all by themselves. It's completely different. And somebody says, I'm never going to trip. And then you take a bat or a golf club and you swing it and break their fucking kneecap, and they fall over and start crying out. Like that. Just go. If you want to be that kind of person, get off my fucking website. Go be Patrick Bateman. Walk around the streets of New York and just stab homeless people to death in the night. Like, get the fuck away from me. Why do you have to fag up my shit? Why do you have to get into my world where things are funny and organic and just fuck up me and my stuff and the stuff for the thousands of people who want to read it and see things develop on their own? Just go be a psychopath. Why do you buy yourself for your own entertainment? I don't get it. It has to be like they're afraid. I can't go glassing homeless people in the streets of New York because I'm afraid that a homeless person might rape me if I do that. I might be overpowered and raped by homeless people as I try to. But when you're just phoning in bullshit to the FBI or to the IRS, then you're completely insulated from the negative consequences of those actions, except for the fact that you're actively fagging up your own content. It's really annoying. And it's not just them. The DSP people do it too. It happens to Ethan Ralph. And you're really making things gay and not fun. And it's sort of the I don't even know, man, because it's like when the forums started getting popular, you had lolcows, and you could watch them and they wouldn't be molested by your observation. When you watch something and you're a small community, then you can be assured that the people there that you know, that you're friends with, are not going to go fucking with this person. And then obviously the next thing that starts happening in 2015 or so is that people start immediately knowing their threads, because people send them links to their threads, because the funniest thing that could happen in their mind is that the lolcow comes over to the site or starts interacting directly with the thread. And that's not funny. It wasn't even funny back then. And that was irritating. And now fast forward another year, it's like, okay, now people are just going to start swatting and making like fake porn, deep fake porn over a fucking May to try and like actually like line cross and commit crimes to force reactions out of these people. And it sucks. It really sours the mood. I honestly, man, I would love it if something happens to these people. I would love it if they get scooped up, because I really hate the government. But here, if to my Fed agent, I'm gonna file a form 27-6 in regards to this. This is my official complaint as a observed person of interest by the government. If you want to score a lot of brownie points for the agency and do some PR, find the people swatting and scoop them up. I will report favorably on the agency. It will be reported in the news. It'll quell this kind of epidemic. People will enjoy it. It'll be some good publicity. So, signing off on my Form 27-6C, make sure, just do something about the fucking line crossing harassment. It has, and I don't even, like, I don't know what else to do about it besides just ignore it. Like if someone's, but then that creates a game. You have someone who's swatting somebody, and if I just say, okay, the people who are after Patrick are ruining it for everybody, I'm just gonna lock the thread. Well, then what? It's like that paradox in India, how the British government paid people for the heads of cobras, king cobras. So what happened? The Indians started breeding king cobras, and they had to cancel the bounty because the financial incentive to bring them dead cobras meant breeding cobras, which was the exact opposite of the actual intent. So it's like if I lock threads of people being swatted, well, what does that do? That encourages people to swat themselves and shit. And it's like it's a real rock in a hard place, is what I'm saying. And I just really wish upon a night star that the faggotry would cease immediately. Paywall this site. I don't know. Super. That's what's on my mind right now. I really. With between like I said, multiple factors of people just being really awful, really, and it sucks because it reflects negatively on the site. It reflects negatively on the site, which does have a strong rule and a strong zeitgeist against the faggotry. But then you have the Ethan Ralph Kinochet Discord server, you have the O&A forums, and then you have all the DSPA logs in their hole, the Wings of Redemption people in their hole. And the stuff that they do ultimately gets blamed on us. It's really not fair, and it's not funny either. People don't want to see it. Anonymous for 5 says, "Are we really at the Sons of Kojima Wings trolling point with the Ralph saga? Hard to sit back and laugh at a fact on the internet without doing homosexual operations." It is, because I think people, when you have someone like Chris, someone like Wings of Redemption, someone like Darkside Phil, they have like this really built-in community, and they have a lot of people with eyes on them. And I think when you're like a young person and you're totally obscure and you enjoy trolling content, you're like, I want to get involved in this. I want to make like a name for myself trolling. And by that point in the saga, you know, Chris has been trolled to death. Wings of Redemption has been trolled to death, and he's on SSRIs. Darkside Phil has been trolled to death, and you know he's old. He doesn't give a fuck. And Ethan Ralph has been trolled to death and seen everything now. So if you're gonna try to inject yourself in the late stages of these people's like cycle as a retard on the internet, you have to really like do something extraordinary, and that usually means like something criminal. In Chris's case, the criminal stuff had already happened and came and went. And then, like, what's the next step? It's playing pretend with him for 16 hours a day and getting him to, like, fuck his mom and shit. And that's what happened with the IBJ and stuff. I was talking about, okay, yeah, once you, like, have reached that stage, the only thing left to do is fuck with people beyond what's funny. And it's just sad at that point. Find something else. Like, I know it sucks that those glory days are gone, but Ralph still fucks up his own life, especially with Ralph. There's no excuse. There's no excuse to start doing stupid gay shit, because Ralph would be pretty funny. Like right now, he's not drinking and taking pills because he's unable to cope with the fact that Kinochet's brilliant trolling saga to Photoshop Amanda into pornography is killing him. He's drinking and taking pills right now because he has to go to court in an hour, and the father of his wife is humiliating him on Twitter. And that's stuff that he did all by himself. Nobody tricked Harry Morris into hating Ralph. Ralph is just insufferable. So just chill the fuck out. You don't have to be famous online. You don't want to be famous online, because you see what happens to people who are famous online. They get swatted, and people Photoshop their family into porn. So you don't want to like chill. You really don't want to be internet famous. It sucks. You're only the money and the notoriety that you get for doing a YouTube stream is at the cost of like every ounce of your personal privacy and ability to live a normal life. So seriously, just fucking don't.